Shalom everybody, how are you doing? It's been a long time. New baby, right? A lot of time invested in this little boy, this little guy who recently came into the world. And Mezat Hashem, God willing, we'll make it a better world for him and for him and his whole generation. Hope you guys are doing well. Beautiful day here in the land of Israel. Can't wait to see you guys here again soon. You're all invited, of course. I just want to share a little thought about this week's Parshat Shavua, this week's Torah portion, Shmini, the 8th day. Right, lots of things to say, as we often said in the past about every parsha, but I'll just focus on one thing. Towards the end of the parsha, we learn about the basic laws of kashrut. Which animals, which birds, which fish, what kinds, what are the parameters, what are the distinctions that make an animal kosher or not. And I think it's obviously connected to the bigger topic of kashrut, but I think it's connected to this idea of what is kashrut really about. Right? Why so many rules? Why so many don'ts? What does it matter what I put in my body? It's food. It's all from God, right? It's all from God. God made everything, right? Like, what should it matter? Like, why should God care what I put in my body? On this rational level, it's a very strange thing. If you guys remember when we were learning about the Enlightenment, like that was like a big thing for people. As like rationality became like more and more present and prevalent, and an influence in the world, people are like, forget about it. Like, this doesn't make sense rationally. I don't want it. Right? And a lot of Jews left behind those things that didn't make rational sense to them, which is a lot of things in Judaism. Right? Judaism is not always rational. It doesn't always work in a way that we can analyze and understand in an intellectual manner, because, as we've said many times in the past, Judaism, Torah, spirituality in general recognizes that we're not just brains. We're not just brains with legs. We're hearts and we're souls as well. The brain, super important. The mind, the intellect, crucial. But we are also emotional beings and we're spiritual beings, and those need to be taken care of as well. So those things that don't find rational explanation in the Torah, then we have to look towards the emotional and the spiritual. What does that say about it? And a quick thought about the kashrut. It's interesting. I was reading it this morning, and it constantly says like which birds and which animals are not kosher for Jews to eat, and it doesn't call them tameh. It doesn't call them impure. It doesn't say lo kasher, right? It doesn't say that they're not kasher. It keeps saying the same phrase over and over again. Tameh lechem, tameim lechem, impure for you, which I think is so beautiful on the part of the Torah that it doesn't say. It's not saying this animal is inherently impure or not okay or not good, because it's not true. Right? It's saying for the Jewish people, right, from the perspective of the Torah and from the perspective of God, these are things that are not in the realm of the diet of the Jewish people. Right? So again, it's not saying inherently these things are bad. It's just saying for the Jewish people, it's not on their spiritual diet. And I believe if we really want to understand kashrut, what kashrut is about, we can't think about it in this physical kind of way. Like, what's the difference if I have a pork sandwich or if I have a kosher meat sandwich? It's really coming from a place of a spiritual perspective, right? Looking at it as a spiritual diet, not so much for my body. Though over the generations, people have tried to come up with ideas of why these animals that are not kosher are not really good for our body. Maybe some of them are true. I really don't know. But really, it's on the level of the soul, right? And in Chassidut and in Kabbalah, it says that when kosher food enters the body of a Jew, so it does something to the soul. It closes the soul. It constricts the soul, right? And it makes it harder for us to feel kedusha, godliness, holiness, pure spirituality in our lives. But the trick that happens is we don't even realize that, right? It's kind of like a double like hiding. We don't realize that we're not realizing. We don't feel that we're not feeling as much, right? Our awareness is lessened, that our awareness has lessened. Right, and it's a really big thing. I remember somebody once asked I don't remember, I heard the story, but somebody once asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe, why are so many, newcomers, Bali Tshuva, people like myself who became religious later in life, why are so many of them vegetarian when they become religious, right? Like myself and many of my friends actually. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe said like this, he said, the soul just had enough of almost a lifetime, whether it was 15, 20, 25, 30 years, however, whatever age they became religious at, the Jewish soul just had enough of eating this non-kosher meat. It just had enough, right? And they became vegetarian. Of course, they also became vegetarian for environmental reasons and different things like that. But from the perspective of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, he's saying they couldn't take it anymore. Their souls wanted to be free. And upon eating vegetarian, so that non-kosher meat was no longer in their lives, and their souls were able to expand, right? And search and find. It's interesting because a lot of returners to Judaism actually become meat eaters again, unlike myself, I guess. But I guess vegetarianism served them for a certain length of time. That's another discussion for another time. I think it's a great thing in and of itself, forever and ever. But whatever, you guys know me. Sharing some thoughts. I know kashrut doesn't speak to everybody. People have challenges and questions, and what's it all about? I want to share just a few thoughts, maybe food for thought, something to think about, maybe a different perspective than you heard before. And all again connected to this week's Torah portion, which is Shmini, which is the 8th day of the inauguration of the Mishkan, which is the traveling sanctuary that the Jews used in the Midbar, in the wilderness. But also 8 is beyond. It's beyond rationality, right? Again, showing us that a bulk of the Torah can't be understood just with our minds, with our intellect, right? And when we allow that to happen, we say, wow, so the Torah and the Jewish path is really like a holistic path. Experience that really touches on all the different points of my life and life in general. Sending you guys much love from the land of Israel. Friday morning, almost Shabbat. All the best. Shabbat Shalom.